Sasha pulled out of the parking lot and stepped on the gas. He has 2 more meetings today. Going home? Well, if he'll get there by 2 in the morning. The phone vibrated in the pocket. Sasha pulled out the handset and involuntarily smiled. Grandfather was calling. Grandfather was always someone special for Alexander. Sasha is now dealing with his work. He didn't have a father. Mom, Grandpa's daughter. Never wanted to go into business. Laughed that men should make money. And they did. First the grandfather. Then, when Sasha grew up enough, Ilya Sergeyevich introduced his grandson into the business. And when he realized that he was doing wonderfully, I bought myself a huge mansion, hired a staff of service personnel, and lived to my pleasure. Sasha, on the other hand, dove headfirst into business. And he liked it so much that he sometimes forgot about everything. Yes, Grandpa. Not like you reconciled with modern technology again. Grandpa, of course, enjoyed the benefits of modern civilization, but always grumbled. But who needed this, huh? Previously, a phone was a phone, a beautiful device on legs with gilding, a pleasure to look at. But now, it's like some kind of joke. Put it in the pocket and forgot. And I have to carry it everywhere. Otherwise, your mother will fly through with all the special machines. Sasha just laughed. Mom really worried a lot about everyone. There was an incident when Grandpa forgot to charge his phone, and he himself went fishing with a friend, a businessman like him. So Mother arrived at the estate with a police car and 2 ambulances. Grandpa laughed then. Nastya, tell me. If my ears didn't know where I was, what would you do? Mother pondered then and then smiled. I would call Sasha. Grandpa sighed. Yes, that's even more dangerous. They had a very close relationship in their family. Sasha was very worried that Mom never got married. Many years have passed since the death of the father, but the son understood perfectly. Mom didn't want to upset him by bringing a new man into the house, although maybe she had some other reasons for this. Well, Sasha, I bet you forgot about Grandpa's birthday? Sasha broke into a sweat, glanced at the car monitor and breathed a sigh of relief. Nothing like that. Your birthday is only on Saturday, but today is still Tuesday. You are lying, but I'll pretend to believe. Well, you probably remember how old Grandpa is turning. Sasha quickly figured it out in his head. Counted. But Grandpa, how could I not know? Of course I do. 7 out of 7. Good job, scoundrel. You'll calculate the symbolist. I'm expecting all of you on Saturday. You can bring your friends. We didn't finish with them last time, that's all. I won't distract. Although, I really hope that you will not come alone. Well, I mean, isn't it time for you, Sasha, to think about a family? Grandpa disconnected and Sasha almost howled. This careless invitation thrown out by the grandfather. It's almost an order that can't be disobeyed. And the same goes for his friends. In general, Sasha's friends loved visiting Grandpa. They always said he was extraordinary and quite a modern man. Admittedly, as they constantly argued about when times were better, now or before. The grandfather had a good relationship with the youngsters, respected their passions. Moreover, he considered Sasha's friends as his own grandchildren. He said their generations were incorrect. Everyone's in their 30s, but no one is married. The topic of family was a bone of contention between them and their grandfather. It was especially hard, because in this matter, Mom was completely on Grandpa's side. Together, they really made his life miserable. But it's one thing when it's all in the form of jokes, and another when it's like this, in that tone. And yet, Sasha, you should refuse. Immediately, Grandpa will switch the topic and will start talking about how he'll die without seeing his great-grandchildren. Doesn't he deserve it? He deserved it, of course he did. Only Sasha, honestly, didn't need to go that far. She was much more attracted to work. Of course, he had some relationships and not a few. But Sasha would not spend his life with any of his girlfriends. Yes, even Grandpa would be shocked by his choice. Although in his day, Grandpa also fooled around. Alexander didn't even get out of the car when the phone rang again. It was Mother. What's happening today? Yes, Mother? Hi, Sasha. I hope you haven't forgotten that Grandpa's birthday is on Saturday. No, Mom, I remember. That's very good. An old friend of his returned from abroad. They hadn't seen each other in 100 years. And Grandpa decided to throw a big party. There will be about 30 people. Well, you understand. The grandfather wants to show off everything he has. Sasha sighed. Everything promised to be even worse than he thought. Why am I calling? Sasha. His friend already has 2 great-grandchildren. You understand what I mean. A lot of time will be devoted to your person on holidays. I would strongly advise you not to come alone. And I'm not talking about friends now. Mom, no, Sasha. The mother raised her voice. Granddad is really old, and you're already 30. Isn't it time to think about the future? Although, if you want to upset Grandpa, it's your right. Mom disconnected and Sasha broke free. That's why all this happened to him. He spent the whole evening thinking about what to do. There wasn't much time left. Didn't want to upset Grandpa at all. Moreover, he understood who Mom was talking about. Apparently, his old friend and rival came, with whom they once fought for Granny's heart. It seemed impossible to let Grandpa down in such a situation. On his way home, Sasha called his friend. Oleg, hi. Are you sleeping? Well, actually, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. What's happened? Sasha described the situation, and Oleg was surprised. He didn't get it. What do you want from me? Oleg, please help, huh? Take any normal girl. Explain everything to her. I'm swamped. The English finally agreed to sign the contract, but there's a lot they're not satisfied with. Oleg exhaled. Sen, have you lost your mind? Where are we going to find a bride for you? Oleg, I know you won't let me down. You understand, it's only for 1 day. Sasha quickly hung up, not giving his friend time to object. Oleg and 2 other friends were sitting on the restaurant terrace sipping coffee. No, but Sanya has definitely lost it. And so, are we really going to find him a bride? Oleg shrugged. 1 day bride. Don't forget about it. On one hand, Sasha was helping us all in some way. But on the other hand, he really got on our nerves with his work. Oleg was talking, but he was watching the beggar. A young girl, more like a tomboy. Dirty, but so nimble. She amusingly pestered passers-by. The most interesting thing, she spoke a lot, correctly, and there was no stuttering. She had an answer for everything. Oleg smiled. Just wait. He waved over the railing and approached the beggar. Friends watched him with interest. Oleg talked to the girl, and they returned to Teresa together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Nastya. I think it will not only fulfill our friend's request, but also finally teach him to handle his own problems. Friends watched them for a while. Then one of them slapped the table with his palm. Well, if our Sashka doesn't kill him, it could turn out to be very funny. I'm calling Mom. We need to teach this girl some good manners. The other friend agreed. But then to the salon for my sister. This miracle needs to be cleaned and cut. Oleg was smiling happily. Well, then I'll take care of the equipment. Nastya turned out to be a surprisingly capable student. Oleg looked at her in astonishment. After they cleaned her up and put her in decent clothes, she turned out to be a very nice girl. However, Natras refused to explain why she was on the street. There was one difficulty, though. Nastya just couldn't get rid of her jargon, which made friends laugh. Listen, is this Krandy, for whom we are all trying hard? Is he inadequate or what? Oleg laughed. No, he seems okay. Nastya thoughtfully drawled. He learned how to make money, but he can't find a woman for himself. Oleg asked her. Anastasia, please, try to keep quiet at the party, else Ilya Sergeyevich might get a shock from your expressions. Nastya shrugged. All right, I'll try not to let you down. Oleg had a bit of a drink on the eve of the holiday. His blood was racing. He couldn't get Anastasia out of his mind. She's so beautiful, extraordinary. He understood that he was insanely in love with this crazy woman and couldn't help himself. He got up and headed to Nasta's room. She lived in his country house this week. Opened the door, immediately went to the bed. He sat next to the sleeping girl and put his hand on her. Nastya understood everything at once.
Thanks for paying
She climbed
attention.
onto the bed. Oleg tried to hold her back and even tapped her lightly.
But she immediately got a
The
response.
dude had such a fright that he almost choked. Something rumbled. Something fell. Gersha po dasha. The rest ran to the noise. Everyone was carrying out assignments. Oleg, what's wrong? Nothing, just a humble brag. He looked at Nastya with anger, but she hid behind her friends. So let's not disperse all of these today. We have an important day tomorrow. Oleg left, slamming the door, and Nastya sighed. Why did she get involved in all this? She absolutely loved living like this. Beautifully, cleanly, fully. 3 years ago, she ran away from home to escape her stepfather's settlement. Since then, she lived on the street. She was afraid to go home. She was afraid that her mother would not believe her in favor of a well-fed life. Sasha almost ran late. He had to drive so fast that the tires squealed on the turns. He still needs to at least meet the so-called bride. Sasha was a bit shocked when he saw Nastya. The girl seemed to have stepped off a magazine cover. The gaze was lively, the face expressive, not like the dolls that had accompanied Sasha before. After 10 minutes of talking, he was already laughing and admiring Anastasia. Ilya Sergeyevich watched Nastya for a long time, then realized, my God, have there actually appeared normal people in your environment who can talk and think? Surprised you can't say anything else. I really hope that everything will work out for you. The evening was a success. Grandpa's friend turned out to be a very positive elderly man. They reminisced about how they made mischief when they tried to win Grandma's heart. When the guests started to disperse, Sasha put Nastya in the car, waved goodbye to his grandfather, and set off. They moved a bit. Sasha asked it. Nastya, where are you going? But let's agree that you will leave me your phone number. Nastya was looking out the window. Don't turn around, she replied. I don't have a phone. But where to? I don't care, I live on the street. Sasha braked so hard that the girl nearly busted her forehead. She looked at him in fear. So very interesting. First, tell me how my friends found you, then everything else. What preceded this? Nastya was silent for a while, then asked, why do you need it? Oleg was completely uninterested when he did. And so are you for that. Sasha gritted his teeth. He immediately understood what Nastya was talking about. Oleg was quite a wanderer. Tell me. Then we'll decide what I need this for. Nastya talked for a long time. They managed to get to the city, have a coffee. Finally, she fell silent. Sasha sat for a while, thought, then said, you'll stay with me and then we'll decide what to do with you. In the week, Sasha arranged for Nastya to return to the institute, and a few days later he brought Nastya's mom. Turns out she suspected her new husband, and as soon as Nastya disappeared, she was looking for her. She kicked him out and they cried briefly, hugging. Nastya looked at Sasha. Thank you. I always believed that rich people are heartless. Nastya and her mom left and Sasha took a breather. Nastya's presence was throwing him off. He couldn't think about anything but her. Thought he would leave and he could get back to work, but something strange was happening. Now he couldn't think about anything at all. Always about Nastya, the main thing, there was some abnormal sadness. Sasha went to his grandfather. He decided to tell him everything, to get some sort of support. The grandfather listened to him. I immediately thought that this girl has nothing to do with you. You forgot what the soul is. You only think about money. So it woke your heart after all. What do you want to do? Well, all the work will pass. Probably because Nastya is so extraordinary. You're just an ordinary idiot. Sasha looked surprised at his grandfather and suddenly realized that he really is an idiot. Why suffer, one might ask, if you can live happily? No, but maybe she needs me. Grandpa squinted cunningly. And you were asking? Such a person won't lie for money. That's for sure. Sasha was rushing again. He was rushing like a madman. He literally burst into Anastasia's house. He hadn't seen her for just a month, but it felt like 10 years. Nastya looked at him in fear, while Sasha blurted out, "Anastasia, I understand this is nonsense, but would you ever marry me?" Well then, as we get to know better. As you get to know better. Sasha got confused, and Nastya, smiling, replied, "Even today." Thanks for watching till the end. If you liked the story, I hope for your support with a thumbs up. All the best.